Hi, everybody. I am your host, Mike Downer, and thanks for joining us on Fully Covered. Do you want cheap insurance or to be insured? I am joined today by Jeff Eastfold, President and CEO, and Dan Bell, Vice President of Absolute Insurance. How are we doing today, guys?
Hey, great. Thanks for having us.
We're doing great.
So today, the big question I have for you guys is, since this is our first episode, who is Absolute Insurance, and why should Iowans care about your story?
Well, so I started selling insurance in 1991, got my license, and always been local and just, like full honesty, like I worked at my dad's agency when I was like, it not legal age to work, but I just started working there, like filing papers. That's what I did, signing papers and mailing them out. And we're just a local place. We're just, we're in Des Moines, Clive. We got an office in Ames, but we write in like 25 states. But I first got my license in 1991 in the state of Iowa. But we're just, we've grown and evolved into much bigger thing than it was in the 80s and the 90s.
So you started out in 91. So let me ask you this, Jeff. What simple principle led you to found Absolute Insurance Agency?
It's the relationships, the clients, you just take care of them. So a long time ago, I was at an insurance meeting, and a guy said, if you take care of clients, they'll take care of you. If that kind of makes sense, right? Like if you
100%.
just, do that, and that's the way that we run. Like just
Perfect.
do
I
it
love
right for the
that.
client. You do it right every time. That's how you get referrals. That's how you keep them. And that's what works for us.
Yep.
Yeah, I
problem
love
solving.
that. That sounds great.
Yep.
So how has the insurance industry changed since 1991, and what has stayed important?
Well, insurance has changed a lot from back then. Like you used to rate by hand. Now we use, the internet and all that stuff. It's changed dramatically. Now it's about the details. And if agents don't pay attention to every little like insurance companies are trying to use, like back in the 80s or the 90s, they used like 10 sets of data. Where you live, what's your car, drivers, boom, boom, boom. Now it's so much more complex. And that's the biggest thing I can see that where other companies don't do the right thing is they're not asking all of these little intricate questions like, the exact occupation, education, and for the consumer, I understand that they get like that should not matter, but it does matter. That's what drives the rate. So like 5 miles to work versus 4 miles to work, that stuff matters. It's just much more. What do you want to call that?
More nuanced.
Yeah, nuance. It just details matter.
No, I that's a great answer. So, Jeff, I'm going to make Dan earn his paycheck here. So, hey, Dan, what does it mean that Absolute Insurance is an independent agency representing 15 plus major carriers?
So at Absolute Insurance, being independent means that we have the option to explore other companies and their nuances against our clients' needs. So not every company is going to be best for youthful drivers. Not every company is suited best for the families. So our advantage to having these 15 carriers is being able to put together a plan, or even put maybe the auto with one company and the home with another if we have to, in those scenarios, to best suit their needs, because nothing is a cookie cutter here.
Yeah, you're solving the problem.
Yeah, we're that's what we do. We solve problems, and we use agency partners, which are the carriers, to do that.
Perfect. That's a great lead into my next question. So, this is for either one of you. How does Absolute Insurance combine regional reach with local roots?
So we're based in Iowa, obviously. We got an office in Clive, 7400 University Avenue. We got an office at 415 Duff Avenue, Names. But, insurance has changed where, being local is important, but we're in like 25-ish states, probably more. So we've expanded around, but we're just trying to do things right.
Being local matters, but like we said before, that relationship matters. So as our clients move, they don't want to be moving their agent either. That's an entirely new relationship. And, we've had people insured for over 20 years that, I know them pretty well. They're good friends. So if they move on to Missouri or Texas, yep, I'll find a way.
Or they buy a second home or a third home.
Yep.
That's how we expanded all those states. Then we do such a great job that we keep getting these referrals from those people that they buy that second home or their third home, or they move to Texas or move to Arizona. They keep referring these people. That's why we had to get licensed in all these other states just to take care of it.
Yeah.
So, you were talking about all the referrals, and I've noticed that your 5-star reviews are kind of off the chart here. So, guys, what do Absolute Insurance's 210 plus 5-star Google reviews and a 4.9 out of 5 stars say about your agency, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, that's important. Just that people take the time to say, this guy's doing a great job, or this girl's doing a great job, because we have multiple people working here, like 15 people. We're not huge, but we're good sized. It matters that people take the time to make a Google review.
It does. I mean, think about it. No one who is meh writes up a message or a testimonial. It's people who are either really not happy or people that are incredibly happy with what has happened, what we've been able to produce for them, either in savings, coverage, both, or just finding solutions.
Well, and then also, like, who gets excited about like making a Google review for insurance? Like, it's not, margaritas, where it's like, yeah,
not the best fajitas in town, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So you're saying that people aren't going to like throw a party and, centered around the Google review?
I have the best insurance. It was so great.
Oh, I love it. So, guys, how does the independent insurance agency model help the customers find competitive pricing versus the one-off shops?
Let Dan take this.
Well, I mean, it goes back to the, having the option to explore, 15 different carriers and their niches in the market and what they're looking for, helps us create a tailored plan for our insureds, as opposed to, oh, you went online and you used your own pricing bucket. Okay. But you don't know what coverage you have. So having the ability to explore between, Progressive and Nationwide, auto owners and Liberty Mutual helps us to really be competitive while finding the coverage for the client.
Oh, that's an excellent answer. So yeah, I know that you kind of go down your own little rabbit hole when you do it yourself, and you think that just because you went online and the quote's lower than what you're paying now, that you're in great shape, and that's not always the case.
Well, 100%. I mean, with insurance, a lot of times you're going to pay for what you get.
I
get what you pay.
It's kind of the title of our podcast here. So
absolutely,
that's where we get people that will, the online stuff is what it is, but it's not better than what we are. Right. They'll go in there and they'll cut all the coverages down, and a lot of those models are meant to. A lot of the online models are meant to pinch down coverage and just, raise deductibles, and so you're paying the least amount, but you don't have any coverage. So when you have a claim, what does it matter? Right?
100%.
If you're not covered, doesn't matter. So like our whole thing is like, if somebody calls me and says, I had a claim, I want to make sure it's covered.
You bet.
That's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
So
After the fact on the claims is not the time to know you don't have coverage.
oh gosh, no. I've been down that road too. So as far as
We should call
claims
that,
and
Mike.
coverage and everything, what types of insurance coverage can customers get through Absolute Insurance?
We specialize in auto, home, umbrella. Clients have toys, they have motorcycles, ATVs, boats. We love that. We do commercial insurance. We do
Lots of
life
rentals.
insurance. Yep. Rentals, landlords.
Very
stuff
good.
like that.
So if it needs insured, you guys are most likely going to be able to help.
Well, we're a full lines agency, so not very many. Like a lot of places are just special for auto and home. Then there's other places that are just for your boats and your toys. Then you got commercial agencies, but we're like a full service agency. We do auto, home, commercial, umbrella, business, workers' comp. We're taking care of everything.
We want to meet our clients' needs.
Yeah, flood insurance. I mean, that's where a lot of agencies go into these niches, and but you can't insure like half a body, if that makes
Yep.
sense.
No,
So
it
you
makes
have to insure the whole person. And if that person has a flood risk, a second home risk, a boat down in Arizona, this or that, we do that.
so sounds like you have everybody covered.
Yeah, we're-
And I know that
taking care of their
over the series of this podcast, and I'm not asking for every single thing, but what topics are you guys wanting to cover for our listeners over the series of this podcast?
Pretty much all of those things. I'd like to get into auto insurance, what
Okay.
the coverages mean, home insurance, what's getting pinched down, what isn't getting pinched down, where you can find savings and how we create a plan for you and things like that for sure.
Well,
Perfect.
going back to the online purchases of insurance, it's systematically set up to the minimums. So the state of Iowa only requires that you have $20,000 of bodily injury, $40,000 of combined BI, and then you got $15,000 of property damage. So what that means, like if you hit a $20,000 car, if you bought the minimum policy, it's only $15,000 of insurance. So the average car running down the road is probably what, 36, 38,000.
Right around there.
So what are they going to do? Their insurance is only going to pay 15. They're going to have to pay the other 18 out of their pocket. Like that's
Yeah,
where buying cheap doesn't work out.
Yep, I completely agree. So we'll kind of wind this up. We just kind of wanted to get to know you guys on this very first one. You guys have done a great job. But the last thing that I think that our listeners need to know about you guys and what you do is I just wanted to ask both you guys, and you guys can both give me an opinion on this one before we wind this one up. How does an independent agency work for the customer rather than for a corporation? Go ahead and start it off, Jeff, and we'll let Dan finish her out.
Let's let Dan go first so I can make a
Okay.
better answer.
So he can make
All
it better. Yeah.
Love it.
So being an independent helps us. It helps provide options for our clients. What I like to do, I like it to be able to solve problems. I like being able to help people. I sometimes think of it we're wizards. Like they come to us with problems and we're magicians that have to figure out how to put this all together and make them whole. Find the gaps that they don't even realize are there and fill it with one of our carrier partners. And having the freedom to shop clients as well, like every year over year, if people see increases on rate, and if we didn't have these other agency partners, what would end up happening is like, it is what it is. You're where you're at. We can start exploring deductible options. But now say, well, you've had a different milestone in your life, and this carrier is actually better suited with a better loss experience with your life experience now. So we can now move your policies over there seamlessly and make sure that we don't establish any gaps and actually eliminate any gaps that could be there. So
Perfect. Jeff?
So the difference between the independent model and the captive model, like State Farm, American Family, Shelter, whatever, Farm Bureau, when you call them, they have one option, right?
Yes.
So that's what it is. And what Dan was saying is that, we're writing for, 15 to 20 carriers, so we can move that stuff around to find the best, how you solve the puzzle. Just like the option to save coverage isn't just that we're going to cut down change the car from liability to full coverage, or full coverage to liability. Sorry, or just raise deductibles. We can actually shop your insurance and figure that out, and that's a huge advantage. That's why the captive insurance market versus the independent agent market. The captive market they're losing market share, and the independent market share is going up. People want choices, and that's what we have.
Very good. I think we've answered a lot of questions today for people, a lot of insurance questions, and over, the next several weeks, we have lots and lots of information to be covered. Insurance is one of those things that we all, as consumers, we all think we know about, but we really don't know enough.
Everybody likes to talk about insurance.
It's,
You love it.
it's well, again, it's not one of my party conversations, guys. I'm sure it is at you guys' parties, but
that's not on the bingo card, huh?
it's not on the bingo card. But the more podcasts I do, the more I find myself learning more and talking more about things with my friends. So I hope that everybody over the next 2 weeks, everybody's going to get to know us, know that we can kind of like to joke around a little bit, and that's a good thing. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us on Fully Covered. I'm here with Jeff Eastfold and Dan Bell. So basically, just keep in your mind, like Dan says, do you want cheap insurance or to be insured? So until the next time, guys, we'll talk soon.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.